The White House Correspondents Association allowed a Chinese communist propaganda outlet into the White House press briefing yesterday. But CNN's media reporter, Oliver Darcy, didn't tweet a word about that. No. Instead, Darcy attacked One America News. This is what he said. Trump calls on OAN conspiracy theorist, a reminder that press secretary is allowing the small right-wing outlet to continue attending briefings despite the channel being expelled from the White House Correspondent Association's briefing rotation for violating rules put into place to increase social distancing. End quote. First of all, this had nothing to do with social distancing. After OAN's reporter asked questions that the White House Correspondents Association didn't like, they downgraded OAN to share a seat with 5 other outlets. Then, after OAN asked another question the White House Correspondents Association didn't like, they downgraded OAN again to share a seat with 10 other outlets. So the press secretary invited OAN to the briefing as a guest, since the White House, and not the White House Correspondents Association, controls access to the press briefing room per the Department of Justice. And by the way, our reporter was properly social distanced. But of course, CNN knows this. Meanwhile, the White House Correspondents Association allowed a Chinese communist propaganda outlet into the briefing room just yesterday. Take a look at this.
Go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. President. Only last week, there were multiple flights coming from China full of medical supplies.
Yes.
Companies like Huawei and Alibaba has been donating to the United States
People
like
I know very well.
1.5 million N95 masks and also a lot of medical gloves and much more medical supplies.
Sounds like a statement more than a question.
And are you cooperating with
I don't
China?
know. Who are you working for, China? You work for China, or are you with a newspaper? Who are you with?
Hong Kong Phoenix TV.
Who owns that, China?
It's
Is it owned by
based in
China?
Hong Kong.
No, is it owned by the state?
No, it's not. It's a private owned company.
Okay, good. Okay.
But wait just a second. Phoenix TV is Chinese communist propaganda. Yes, the outlet is technically privately owned, but in name only. Their main investor is a Chinese communist state-owned entity called China Mobile. Furthermore, a former Phoenix TV director named Chung Pong testified to the FCC, and I quote, "I know from personal experience that Phoenix TV's content is subject to the dictates of the Central Communist Propaganda Department, Central Communist Overseas Propaganda Office, and the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, which often directly send instruction to Phoenix Satellite TV," end quote. What kind of instructions? Pong testified that the instructions, quote, included directives to remove specific items of news that violated the party's news guidelines or positively reported on the United States or events in the United States, end quote. Just to give you an example of what kind of communist garbage Phoenix TV airs, they broadcasted forced confessions of 5 Hong Kong booksellers who were kidnapped by Chinese communist officials for violating Chinese censorship laws. And according to a report from the Free Beacon, and I quote, "Phoenix TV has been identified by U.S. intelligence agencies as a major overseas outlet used to spread propaganda and promote the policies of the communist government in Beijing," end quote. In other words, the White House Correspondents Association allows a Chinese communist propaganda outlet into the presidential press briefing at the White House, but revokes One America News' access because the liberal White House Correspondents Association doesn't like our questions. And they call themselves advocates of a free press. What a joke.